Hello and welcome to another macro screencast. This time I'm looking at line editing, and this will be the first of a number of videos on this topic. I'm talking here about macros that you can use as you're actually reading through the text and making small changes. The point here is not so much to increase your speed, though I think there will to some extent. Rather, it's more about keeping your mind focused on the meaning and flow of the sentences. The thing is that it's all too easy when correcting a spelling or changing the punctuation to forget what the sentence is actually saying. And on the other hand, while you are trying to keep focused on the meaning of the sentence, it's all too easy to mistype the correction. But macros, of course, don't make spelling errors, don't make typing errors. I'm just going to use a bit of dummy text for each new macro, and above the text will be the name of the macro that I'm going to be using. So let's get started, and the single most useful macro for line editing has got to be Multiswitch for me. And there's a separate video about that, but let's just give you a reminder. So to use this macro, we need to have on screen a list of the words that we are going to want changing. This is just my list, and I keep it updated as I go through day by day. So if we have a word like continuously and we run Multiswitch, it looks at the list, finds continuously and changes it to continually. That gets changed to which, and not surprisingly, if it's which, it gets changed to that. And Multiswitch can do formatting, so if you've got something like CO2, then that gets formatted correctly, changed into CO and then a subscript 2. And you can also have multiple options if, as in down the bottom here, you've got EG, and then you've got for example and such as. So those are two options. So if it sees that there's more than one, it puts them up in a list here and gives them a number, so you can say I want, say, number 1. Okay, so let's move that out the way. Let's see a little bit more text and move on to our next macro, SpellSuggest. So that one will check the spelling first of all. So if I check that word, it makes one bong to tell me it's correct. If I check the spelling of that one, it bongs twice to tell me that the spelling is wrong, and it corrects it, or it gives me words idea of what the correct spelling should be. Number to text, so if you click somewhere in front of a figure like that and click once, you get that, and try it again and it moves along, finds the next one and the next one and the next one, and as you see there, it's taken 2005 and it's actually put it as the words. And actually I'm using number to text UK there, because if I use number to text, if it goes down to the next one, that one comes out as 2005, which is the American way of writing that number. Then next we've got swap words. So if you click in one word and do that, then it changes the order of the two words. If I have swap characters, if I go in between two characters there, then I can switch those two characters round. Okay, comma add, very common to need to stick a comma in somewhere. Stick a comma in, just so you just click somewhere in the word and run the comma add macro. Then some more here, 3 in 1. So in this case, just to delete words, then it's useful to have a single keystroke for that. And if you watch this time, where this word, you've got the comma there. If I do it this time, then it not only takes out the word, but it also takes out the space before it, which is quite useful. Then punctuation off right. So that's if you want to get rid of a comma, so you would do that, and it gets, so you click somewhere in the word and run punctuation off right, and it takes that, and delete final char delete. So if I click in wordy, which is meant to be word, and click that, then it just takes the final character out and not the punctuation. And actually punctuation off right is useful in the sense that if it sees the an apostrophe there, then not only does it take out the initial the apostrophe at the end, it also takes out the initial apostrophe. Similarly with quote marks there, it takes those both out. The next one is abraswap. So if I've got VBA and I'd prefer to have it the other way around as the spelt out thing and then the approximation or the abbreviation, then I use abraswap, which is that. So it's swapped it around, and it does work the other way. So if I click in visual there, I can do that and it goes back to the opposite way round. Punctuation to dash and so on. So that's a hyphen there, and we know that Mr. Raffson and Mr. Newton are two separate people, so we want a dash instead there. Mr. Forbes Hamilton is one person, not two persons, so that should be a hyphen, so I use punctuation to hyphen. Minus signs, so punctuation to minus, and if I do that again, then it changes that one. But this one is it? That is already a proper minus sign, so it doesn't change that one. Punctuation to space, so that's that one, and you can get rid of the space. Sorry, get rid of the hyphen and turn it into a space. Thin spaces. So if we've got we're using thin spaces for units, then we can use punctuation to thin space. And actually this one I like it to highlight the thin space, so I know it's been changed to thin space. But you don't have to have that. You can switch that option off. Type a thin space, similar idea. That also, it puts a thin space in, but it also highlights it because it makes it clear that you can see as you look whether or not a thing is a thin space or whether it's just an ordinary space. At the end of a sentence, and you might want to change the punctuation. In other words, if that's a sentence end but actually we want it to be a semicolon, we can do that and it will take care of the initial capitalization. Go back to a full stop. Let's have a colon, or we could have a semicolon. So that's comma. Oh, comma we haven't demonstrated. Comma. Okay, so it changes the punctuation accordingly. And the last couple, double quote, single quote. So this is dashes along the line to find the first double quotes and change it to single quotes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same the other way around. If we want to go to double quotes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I've deliberately done this 6. That was supposed to be in an apostrophe. Of course, the macro doesn't know the difference between an apostrophe and close single quotes, so we don't want that. So you would actually have to go to the word covers there in order to get that one done. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.